It's not just about transfer talk, nor the usual excitement with the return of training sessions at St. James Park. There's a deeper, more subtle feeling in the air, something brewing quietly behind the scenes, with phone calls away from the media spotlight and negotiations that, for some reason, aren't going the way fans had hoped. There's a name circulating with increasing strength through the club corridors, and the fan base is starting to ask, why hasn't the deal been sealed yet? And if you've been following this channel for a while, you already know when the atmosphere behind the scenes at Newcastle United feels strange, we dig deep to uncover what's really going on. That's exactly why this video is so important. Here you'll get the full picture of a transfer saga that's causing a stir. And of course, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, now is the perfect time to join our community. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and come follow the most decisive moves of our beloved club with us. This situation involves Hugo Ekitike, a young, talented striker whose name has long sparked interest among fans. Newcastle are not the only club keeping tabs on the Frenchman, but they did appear to be ahead of the competition. And then came the twist. Even after submitting an official £69 million offer, Eintracht Frankfurt turned it down. That's right, a figure that should, in theory, have made Newcastle frontrunners in the race wasn't enough. And the reason is precisely what's left supporters feeling even more puzzled. According to Florian Plettenberg from Sky Sports Germany, the offer was rejected primarily due to the payment terms. In other words, the issue wasn't the total amount, but how the money would be paid over time. That's relatively common in top-level transfers. But that alone doesn't fully explain the refusal. What really stands out is that Newcastle's offer was lower than those made by other clubs. Yes, we went into negotiations already knowing what Frankfurt were looking for, and still tabled less. Now this is where things heat up, folks, because as Plettenberg confirmed, Newcastle had full access to the previous offers on the table. In other words, the club knew the numbers Frankfurt expected. They knew what competitors like Liverpool were prepared to offer, and still, they put forward a deal that wasn't just lower but reportedly unacceptable in structure. The result? A stalled negotiation, a serious contender closing in, and a fan base growing frustrated with what appears to be a stubborn approach from the board. If this all sounds strange to you, you're not alone. Supporters across social media have already voiced their concerns, questioning why the club would waste time with an offer that was clearly doomed from the start. And the question echoing louder now is, why bother making a bid that doesn't stand a chance? It's moments like these that prove how vital it is to follow behind-the-scenes updates, not just what's officially announced, but what's really going on behind closed doors. That's why, once again, we're encouraging you to subscribe to the channel right now, so you don't miss a single detail from the heart of Newcastle United. This Ekitike deal is far from an isolated case. Since the beginning of the window, Newcastle have adopted a more cautious approach, trying to structure deals that don't damage the club's financial balance. While that strategy may be understandable from a sustainability perspective, it becomes frustrating when applied to targets who could clearly raise the team's level. Ekitike, for example, perfectly fits the profile Newcastle are after: young, room to grow, and already proven at a high level. The problem is, while Newcastle hesitate, other clubs are pushing forward. Liverpool, for instance, have not only shown interest but are already in talks with the players' camp. The message is clear: unless Newcastle act fast and with the necessary boldness, they risk missing out on yet another big opportunity. The fans have seen this story before, and no one wants to relive the disappointment of watching a gem slip away for lack of ambition during negotiations. According to Sky Sports Germany, Frankfurt aren't being unreasonable. On the contrary, they're open to selling, but they want the conditions to be clear and met accordingly. Their demand is simple: a fair, straightforward payment, without lengthy installments affecting their cash flow. For a club like Newcastle, who've shown financial strength in previous windows, that shouldn't be a deal-breaker. What seems to be holding things back is a risk-averse mindset that, unfortunately, could cost us a top-tier talent. And this is where fan pressure begins to matter. The noise on social media, the criticism on sports panels, and even the growing international attention all shine a spotlight on the club's decisions. When names like Hugo Ekitike are on the table, expectations naturally rise. After all, we're talking about a player previously targeted by Newcastle, one who could be the key piece to boost Eddie Howe's attacking options. If you've made it this far, it's because you're after more than just clickbait headlines. You want context, insights, and the real reasons behind each move. And that's exactly what we bring here on this channel. So if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Now's the time. Your support keeps this project alive and helps us keep delivering in-depth, reliable content with the passion only true Newcastle supporters can provide. Subscribe, turn on your notifications, and stick with us because the Ekitike saga is far from over. Beyond the financial aspect, there's also the matter of sporting project. Hugo Ekitike and his representatives are looking not only at numbers, but also the player's career path, minutes on the pitch, and the club's ambitions. Despite Newcastle's growth, they still need to prove they're a solid destination for young players aiming for trophies and international recognition. This is where the board must step up and present a vision, not just a price tag. For now, Newcastle are continuing to monitor the situation. The British press is already calling for a resolution, and each passing day sees competition growing stronger. Ekatich's name has resurfaced in headlines, and that alone should sound an alarm within the club. The market doesn't wait. If Newcastle want to compete at the top, they need to act with the same speed and decisiveness as their rivals. To wrap things up, here's the message. Newcastle must adjust their stance and come back with a new offer, one that's more solid and convincing, or they'll watch another opportunity slip away. Hugo Ekatich isn't just a gamble, he's a real chance to raise the technical level of the team. But like everything in football, decisions must be made with conviction, courage, and clarity. And right now, time is not on our side. If you want to stay updated with every twist in this deal, and follow everything happening behind the scenes at Newcastle United, subscribe to the channel now. Here, we deliver information with responsibility, context, and above all, passion. Our mission is to stay by your side, support her on what promises to be a season full of emotion. See you in the next video.